Hi there folks, welcome to the video. This is Hardly Gibbon. And yeah, it's been a little while since I've uploaded anything. I've just been kind of enjoying playing this game, amongst others, and obviously also celebrating Christmas and all that, which has been nice. But I've been setting this build up now for a little while. The original idea from this build came from, is it Boardman21? Although that was on a completely different character. I've started this character from scratch, was it yesterday, 2 days ago? And I've just been leveling it up and building it as I like it, and it's a bit different. In fact, it's almost completely different. So I thought I'd make a little video just to kind of show you guys what I've done and why I've done it. And it's a lot of fun to use. It's got all the lightning and the cold and the visual stuff that I like. And yeah, now this build is nowhere near finished. My character here is only level 54 or something, so I've got a long way to go. But that's in a way a good thing, because a lot of people, this is about level 50 is when you start thinking, right, I'm going to start aiming to build something a certain way. So yeah, this is a build. I can also tell you what I'm going to be doing as I level up, because I have got a guy higher up than this as well on a similar build. But yeah, let's just jump straight into the skills that I'm going to be using. So the skills we're going to be using, I have the Fury Leap. Now this is a quality of life. I like this because it helps get around the map quicker. It's also quite handy for damage and small, low level enemies. And I'll show you in a second why it can also add a huge amount of damage to your actual overall skill. So originally, I started going up here. So I've got Crater, it's up to 3 points. I've gone down to Lagon's Wrath. Gone up to here for Stormbringer to 3 points again, and then 1 point down to Rejuvenating Storms. Now, I then put 2 points down here to Crushing Impact, and 1 point so far down here to Regain Stamina. I will be maxing this out. What I also did is I put 7 points into Warrior's Entrance. So when you land, you and your minions deal increased damage for 3 seconds. Now, it does say you can't have multiple input instances of this buff, but I don't know why they do that, because well, I suppose you could theoretically cast this more than once, sorry, in 3 seconds, but 105% global increased damage. That is base damage increase, and that's for you and your minions. So you jump, and you're suddenly doing 100% extra damage. It's fantastic. Yeah, I really like this ability, and it's handy, as I said, for getting into combat, to get out of combat, and just moving around the map. Makes things quicker. It might not do in very end game content, but for 90% of what we get, what we are going to be doing, perfectly fine. Now the second ability, the big one here, Storm Totem. Now these are not finished levels, by the way. As you can see, I'm still leveling up, so these are not completed. So I've got my Storm Totem. I've gone down here, all the way down to the Thunder Totem. This does increase the cost of your Storm Totem, but not to the point where it is damaging to you. You can still spam this out. Now, the reason I've done this is not only do you get quite a lot of extra damage, I still need to max this out, actually, get enemies in a large area. Not only do you get 6% extra damage, you get a Thunder Totem, so you get a 25% chance of putting it down. A Thunder Totem, visually, they don't look any different as far as I can tell, which I think is an oversight. I think it should look different. But basically what it does, you get increased damage, duration, health, and critical strike chance of 100%. It is a lot more expensive, mana-wise, but you can have this out for, 2 minutes. 2 minutes. I like it. And then what I've done is I've gone up here to get the cold, to get blizzard. I've got 3 points to icicles, and my last couple of points will probably go into the power shunt here, just to increase the critical hit critical multiplier. So that gets you 90% extra critical multiplier on that. That'll be where my last couple of points go. Now, my next ability is the Tempest Strike. Now I've gone all the way out to the left here. I've maxed out the static. I've moved up to with the wind, and then all the way out to mute the earth. I have gone down over to Storm Strike, and then down and maxed out Lightning Can Strike twice. So you just get more damage. And then I've gone down to Stormlord, Charged Stone, and Dead Wind. Now, what I have noticed is, even though I just said you can spam your totems, there are times where you do lose a little bit of mana, I'll probably put at least a couple of points into unspent power. So what that does, basically, whenever you hit anyone with it, you get mana back. You already have that ability on your passive skill tree. So you will probably get it up to maybe about 20 points back, 20 mana back every time you hit. So it's quite nice. So that'll be where the next couple of points go. Now, this is where my build does differ quite a lot. I am using another totem, which is the Fawn totem. And what I've done is I've gone down to get the code. So came down here first, all the way down, just using the minimum number of points to get Ice Fawn totems. So basically, your Fawn totems now do cold damage. You also, I got the Frost attunement, so the vastly increases the chance of freezing your enemies. And then what I've done is I've gone up here to get the Forested Expanse down to External Forest, and then 1 point into Grove Mine. So this basically you cast all your totems. So it's about 3 totems with 1 cast. Now this can be very expensive. So what I've started doing is I started putting a couple of points into Totemic Wisdom. Totemic? I don't know. Wisdom. Basically reduces the mana cost. You obviously can get that up to like quite high, about 30% efficiency there at 2 points. I might put a couple of points more into that. I haven't really noticed I've noticed a big difference actually. I haven't noticed a point where I've been desperately short of mana, so that might be where I put my next points, but I might just put them into like more damage and stuff like that. So we'll just have to see. What I've been wanting to maybe try and get over here, but I just don't have the points. I only got a couple of points left. I don't have the points to get over to here, so guided fawns is not really an option. But I thought that'd be quite nice with like having all these like icicle things going out and freezing everyone, but can't do it. My last ability is the Avalanche. I love this ability. This is what I use for taking out heavy enemies and bosses. So what I've done is I came out here to the left. I've got put 2 points up here into naturally occurring. You could probably put a couple more points into that if you wanted to, or you could maybe swap these around, say 2 points into that, 4 points into that, so you could spam it more often. 4 points into Avalanche, Unyielding Storm, so Avalanche lasts longer. I've then gone up to here to maximize the AoE capacity, so I've put 2 points into Explosive Impact, 2 points into Unpredictability, 2 points into Mountain's Fury, and I put 1 point into Frost so far. Got a couple of points left. So I'll probably put two more points into that, and then I'll probably just finish off, maybe put another point into that, another point into that kind of. This is quite a lot of people go into Hailstorm. I don't like that. Avalanche is now cast around you and follows your movement. I don't like that. This is what I use for taking out bosses, which generally speaking stay in a mostly static area. So I don't like Hailstorm. I like being able to put this down and surround my enemies with totems and kill them that way. So that is the skills, guys. As I said, these are not finished. These are still leveling up. I might do a second part to this once I've maxed out the guide. But this is the thing I find a lot of guides on YouTube. They're for like level 90 characters. And if you don't know what you're doing by level 90, you know, yes, that's the whole thing. Anyway, so that is the skills, guys. Going into the passive abilities here. Primalist is the one you start with. What I did to start with, I just put all my points into Natural Attunement. Then I put a couple of points into Hunter's Restoration. Then I finished up Wisdom of the Wild. And then I put 5 points into Hunter's Emanation. Now, a lot of people are going to go, why did you do that? Well, you have increased health, and every 3 seconds, your next hit restores your health. As long as I hit someone with Tempest Strike 3 times, not only do I get mana back, I trigger Hunter's Emanation. Now what Hunter's Emanation does is the healing, which isn't a big issue, so don't worry about the healing, but my minions get 55% increased damage. So every 3 seconds they're potentially getting 55% extra damage, as long as I keep hitting people with Tempest Strike. I found this to be a really nice damage buff. Now, it kind of, at this build, the one downside to this build is it is still quite squishy. I am working on it, but it is still quite squishy. So you could maybe actually keep 5 points into that if you wanted to. Basically, you get increased health, or you can even put points into Primal Strength. You get +1 Strength, which is handy. That will benefit quite a lot of your abilities, and you get health regeneration. So basically, in a way, health regeneration nullifies the damage you take because you automatically regen some of the damage that you take. So it's a bit more of a personal choice of how you set your Primalist up. But once you've done that, you're going to head into Shaman. Now, when it comes to Shaman, I find a lot of stuff in Shaman to be quite weak. But there are some nodes that you are going to want. So I put 8 points into Shamanic Infusion. That maxes out your attunement and penetration, and that's universal penetration. So that's everything. Let's see, also physical, cold, and lightning. So yeah, it's basically every type of a bit of damage you're doing in this build. So it's 8% of penetration across from that. 8 points in Tempest Form. You get a bit of health, which is always handy. You get shock, chance, chill chance, and mana gain when you use Tempest Strike, as what I said earlier. So you get 8 from that, and then you can max it out, so you can probably get to about 20 back whenever you hit anyone. I then had to put 2 points into Stormbringer just to kind of get my levels up, which I've then moved into 5 points to Avatar of Thunder, which increases your base spell damage by 10 and your minion spell damage by 10. There's a lot of base damage at the moment in this build because, as I said, it's still a leveling build. I've got a lot of stuff to add to it, but I wanted to kind of get the base damage up as high as possible because it's all multiplicative, remember guys. So if I get 10 points into the basic, that will equal it more than if I have 10% damage at the top end, if you understand what I'm saying, because it's all like everything's calculated from that base damage. I've also put 5 points into Ancestral Speed, which increases your totem cast speed, and you get a haste chance as well whenever you cast a totem, which is always handy. But what totem cast speed is it's quite self-explanatory. Basically, it's your totems cast more often, so one totem will ultimately give you 35% more damage. You got to look at it that way. Then I've put 8 points into Rune of Awe, which gives you adaptive spell damage and your minion as well. Again, this is base damage, and the thing with adaptive spell damage is it affects all damaging spells. So that is fire, ice, every type of damaging spell that gets extra damage onto it. So again, brilliant. Now I've started putting a couple points into Lagon's Answer up here. Your spells have a chance to cast Lightning Strike at the target location. Basically, that just vastly increases your overall damage because I believe every single cast from the Storm Totem triggers this, along with your Avalanche and your Thorn Totem. So you can potentially have dozens and dozens of Lightning Strikes hitting at once. So that's that. And then once I've done that, I'll probably just have to figure out how to get a couple points out to get up to Conflux, Ascendant Circle. Probably not that one. But yeah, these two are the next ones that I'm going to be getting. So that is that. Oh, sorry. Druid. 6 points into Druid. Down here in Blood Claws. Physical damage leached as health. Physical penetration. So that's another penetration now. 6%. Now, the reason I've done this is the physical damage. This is classed as physical damage. This is classed as physical damage. This is classed as physical damage. And I believe that's also classed as physical damage. The only one that isn't is Storm Totem, and you can use that. You can actually get that onto physical damage on your skill tree, but I haven't this time. But I think having 4 of your 5 abilities doing physical damage when you are essentially healing 12% of damage dealt, I do still have to kite about with this build, but overall, I'm quite happy with how much health I get back. So that is the skill tree, guys. Now let's look at the character. As I said, I am still quite squishy. I am working on getting my resistances up. But overall, I'm quite happy. I mean, even just a few hours ago, I was sitting with like none here and none over here. But I've been working my way up. When it comes to defensive stats, again, I'm still quite low. I've only got 51% critical hit avoidance. I actually had to sacrifice a little bit just to kind of get a big bit of buff of all my resistances there. Ultimately, you do want 100% here, guys, but I just haven't got that far yet. Still leveling up. When it comes to your minion stats, you're looking at some really nice rolls here. You've got loads of extra spell damage, increased minion damage. You got physical, lightning, cold. They're the ones that affect you. Massive amounts of extra health. That's very important, especially as you go up higher levels. Basically, your totems will count as enemies. Your totems will count as players as such, and so your enemies will attack them. So the more health they have, the more chance of them surviving. So yeah, try and get as much health as possible. And I don't think there's anything else there. That's all just random stuff. So that's that, guys. And as I said, I will be working on getting my critical hit avoidance up, and I'm really struggling with armor as well. I want to basically get more health, more armor, and critical hit avoidance. So that's that. That's what I'm aiming for. When it comes to the gear, guys, you're just looking for kind of best in slot. But one thing I would highly recommend when it comes to gear is don't worry about what the attributes are. Look for the best base damage. The base damage, yeah, I can't actually show you because I can't move my mouse, but it's up there with where it says physical damage, adaptive spell damage, and mana cost. Try and get them as high up as possible. So I've got like 27, 35, 29, and then what you can do, either you can use the rune of removal to hopefully take away the ones you don't want, or just wipe the whole thing and start with the best basic abilities, and then you can put on what you want, the best that you can. So like I don't really want melee fire damage here, but I do get increased elemental damage, increased minion damage. Chance to ignite is always handy, actually. It's extra damage. When it comes to my head, I've put a little bit of critical hit avoidance on that, bit of attunement, minion health, physical resistance, amulet, minion health, elemental damage, elemental resistance. When it comes to my chest, you want attunement, minion health, totem adaptive spell damage, that's base damage again, and elemental resistance. You want to get as much turquoise stuff as possible, so set up a look filter for turquoise and try and get as max or high up as possible. So you want 35 and 35, they're the max for all of them. Mine are not there yet. But yeah, I did roll all these, like basically I wiped them and rolled them, so I've got like minion health there, plus a bit of attunement, critical strike avoidance, minion damage. That's not brilliant, but it's mostly about resistances, so I get minion health, increased armor, necrotic, and poison resist. Marvel ring is more attunement, minion health, critical avoidance, and minion damage. When it comes to your gloves, I have +4 attunement. I've started getting my set bonuses up as well, so I've got +4 necrotic and poison resistance per item equipped with this. I believe my feet as well, my boots have the same thing. 23% minion damage and 31% void resistance. My boots, they give me cold resistance as a basic plus a bit of movement. I get attunement, elemental resist, and critical strike avoidance. And then my thingy down here, I've got +6 spell fire damage. That's not a huge issue because you're not really aiming for it, but it's always nice. It's base damage, so it adds, it's multiplicative, adds on itself. Plus a bit of attunement, minion health, minion damage, and a bit of armor. Now when it comes to your idols, as you can see, I have not got this maxed out yet. I have got a couple in my stash ready to go once I can, but I put on stun avoidant, which is always handy, which gives me a really nice buff to my spell damage for my minions and myself. I have 3 of these smaller stout ones here, which gives me critical hit strike, chance, lightning damage, again critical hit strike and lightning damage, and shock and lightning damage. Which, I mean, it's quite nice. I mean, I've got 129 here. 128% extra lightning damage, which is my primary damage. I do cold damage as well, but lightning is my primary damage here. So yeah, and I believe I get resistance buffs once my thing's up as well. So I do actually meet the cap. Maybe I've overcapped here in cold actually, because you only need 115. 115% is the absolute cap. Basically, you get 75% as a soft cap, and then anything above that is affected only by penetration. So if an enemy hits you with a lightning spell and if you have 90% lightning resist, and they hit you for lightning spell, if they do 75 damage, it's ignored. If they do 80 damage, it's ignored. If they do 100 damage, you're only going to take 15 damage out because they've kind of over capped damage. But yeah, 115 is the hard cap, 75 is a soft cap. I'm not very good at explaining that, to be honest, but that's what you're aiming for, guys. And the ones that are most important, which is the ones I'm lowest on right now, physical, very important, because a lot of enemies have physical damage. And I also found void to be very nasty, because you go up against a lot of those enemies that have like seeker projectiles. They do a hell of a lot of damage because they're pretty much all of them hit you, so you can't just kite them unless you like teleport away. So yeah, try and get physical, void, and then elemental damage. And that's why I'm trying to do set bonuses to get these ones up, just because they can then benefit each other. So that's all that, guys. That's the build. What I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into an Echo here, and I'm just going to run through it and show you a bit of gameplay. And hopefully I won't die. So let's just head into it. So I have been doing a couple. I've only recently started to do my echoes. So I don't want. I'm going to go for enemies regenerate health because hopefully they're going to die before that really matters. Right. Now you will notice a lot of strange colours. I have put in quite a lot of stuff just to kind of show me loot filters, kind of things that I would find useful. Saying that, I still think the loot filters, it's a very convoluted way of doing things. Like I can't remember who. I watched a video the other day of a guide, and a guy had his loot filters on a website, and I downloaded them and I put them on my guy, and there must have been about 30 odd. And I was just like, what? And they were all like, they were really, really complicated. So I do think that the company could potentially do with having a look at the loot filter, make it a little bit easier, just to kind of organize it. I think I need to do something 2 seconds. It seems to help when I'm recording if I put it onto that. Which is strange because I've actually capped my FPS to 60 via Radeon, which is, I found to be a big issue. This game is weird. Some people have no problems with it and have really, really bad, like not bad, but like much less hard, like level of hardware than I do, and they don't struggle at all. But some missions, yeah. Look at health bar, guys. Gone. Now, like as I said, like I'm level 54. This is a level 55 area, so these guys are higher level than me. Not by much, but they are higher level than me. 30% core damage. I might take that. Might be able to do something with it. Always have a look, guys. Always have a look at stuff, because you never know what you're gonna get. I mean, it's a wrong wing, but it does give critical hit avoidance. I'd say, for instance, if I was running low on critical hit avoidance, which is quite a rare one to drop, you could take that and break it down, and you get a chance of getting a shard. So that's it, guys. Yeah, that was pretty quick, and as you saw, very easy. And this build is nowhere near finished. I still have a lot of stuff that I need to do to kind of get it maxed out. Damage. I'll take that actually, because it's got, I do lose armor with that, but I'll take it. I'll see if I like to take stuff and then have a think about it. So, but yeah, that's it, guys. That's the skills you're going to be using. Well, that's the skills that I'm using now. And passives, primalist, shaman, druid. And then when it comes to your gear, just try and get minion damage, minion health, attunement, and then resistances and critical hit avoidance. They are the kind of primary things you're going to be looking for. Anyway, guys, that's it. That's the build video done. As I said, I might do a little kind of catch up once I've kind of maxed this guy out and I've got everything maxed out and leveled up. And I reckon this build will be brutal once it's done. Might still be quite squishy. I will aim to probably try and get double the health that I have just now with 100% critical hit avoidance, and then work on like capping out the resistances. But we'll see how it goes. Anyway, guys, thank you for joining me. I hope you guys had a good Christmas and have a great New Year. That's a big thing here in Scotland, but I can't imagine it's going to be all that brilliant if you know, no one will be able to do anything. But anyway, guys, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.